This is the Elks Lodge about 20 minutes after the roof had fallen on it. It happened about 5:30 the evening of Friday, March the 6th, 1987. Ralph and I were coming up Washington Street about that time and saw a big cloud of black dust. At first, everybody thought it was an explosion. We came up and parked, and you could hardly see or breathe for all of the dust and the insulation that was flying around. We stood there watching in dismay what we saw, and finally we thought, well, we should have the video camera for this, so I was elected to run back to the house, or I should say drive back, and get the video camera. I started filming at 10 minutes to 6 because I had looked up at the courthouse tower clock. So about 20 minutes has elapsed here. And during this time, you can see the little, well, I've panned over too far. Okay, the two windows there together, just west of the Elks Club, is where Gina Ann's The Wedding Place was at. Gina Ann Herbert's fiance, Dwight Wilson, was sitting on the second floor, right in front of the windows. When the rubble went through the ceiling and the second floor, they dug him out of the rubble soon after. Some passerbys had pulled him out, and he was on the first floor. They took him out, and before I started filming, they have taken him to the hospital. They'll find that he has lacerations and also a broken collarbone. He will later be released, and he will be down here watching them dig for his fiancée. Right to the left in the foreground, you can see Carl Walker. He is chairman of the trustees of the Elks Club. At that time of the collapse, they had been meeting in another place, because on Thursday around noontime it had been noticed that there were some tiles falling on the third floor ceiling, and they had gotten about 3 different contractors in there who had told them it was a structural damage, and he had called Tom Barth, I think his name is, to come in and check it since he is an architect, and he had said he couldn't make it until Monday. At about the time the ceiling collapsed, they had made the decision to close down the Elks Club, notify the people in Todd's Apparels downstairs to move out, and notify the adjoining property owners that they weren't sure of the structure. Unfortunately, before they could do this, the ceiling did fall. You can see them here going into Gina Ann's, trying to dig her out because her fiancé had told them that she was in there and that she was only about 10 feet from him back into the store, so they feel they're going to reach her any minute.
Is who's closed?
Todd.
No, they were having a one half price sale.
Well, the windows are all...
Yeah, they do that all the time. They all like to get in all the time.
You're on camera. I don't pretend to be a photographer or a narrator, but I'm hoping that this will let you see some of what has happened during this. We just got the camera at Christmas time, so I'm not too good at it yet. It's the following Sunday that I'm putting my voice on this tape, which is, I think, March 15th. At this time, as you will see later on in the film, the Domingo building was totally demolished. They are bringing in some experts to check out the Elks Lodge to see if maybe the top floor cannot be removed and the lower 2 floors made sound and still use the club. Gina Ann's was totally demolished. Later on, the next day, after I took these films, the facade will be torn down during the night, and you'll see that it will be totally gone at that time. Jack Hurst building, where the cable company and Huntington's jewelry are at this point, Jack feels that he can restore the building completely. The debris did go through the ceiling of the east apartment, but at this time they feel that they can repair it. At about 7 o'clock this evening that this was filmed, Huntington's, where it says diamonds and watches, they did move their stuff out of there. The building did sustain some damage to the wall, so they did remove all of their stuff. At this point, they brought in the hook and ladder, and they will send one of the firemen up to see what damage there is on top of the lodge, and he will say that the roof is totally flat. What we did find out with film that was taken by one of the TV stations as they flew over, there is a hole in the west side of the Domingo building. The debris went straight down through. When the when the ceiling collapsed, the two walls on the third floor collapsed outward. The one on the east side going through the Domingo building and the one on the west side going through Gina Ann's, and also putting some of the debris on the Hearst building and going through that ceiling.
God, look at that pile of bricks ready to come down. My arm's getting tired, Ralph.
You'll have to excuse some of the commentary that comes through on the microphone of the camera. I've changed positions now. I'm standing over in front of the alley between Kearney's and what is now a fabric shop called Style. There's a shot of the courthouse. People are moving back because at this point they're bringing in a backhoe, which they will use to dig out some of the debris. Later on, after they removed the facade of the building, they will just drive it right in and start removing debris. A lot of it was removed by hand, though. The men used buckets and had a regular bucket brigade where they would dig it out and dump it and then pass the buckets back in. Good hold on the camera. somebody had pulled the rope up that I was standing over and almost knocked the camera out of my hand at that point.
Here, I can pick it up on the telescopic.
Before the rescue attempt was over, there were probably about 30 or 40 law enforcement and fire rescue units involved. It was really heartwarming because they came in from all counties surrounding and even brought in the canine for trying to locate where she was in the rubble. You can see an ambulance leaving. Fortunately, there was only the one death and the fiancé that was injured. There were about 5 other people who had sprained ankles and lacerations during the removal of the rubble. Otherwise, we're very fortunate. There was just, like I say, the one death and very little injury.
I can't get. Hi, Amanda.
Oh, yeah. Hey there.
Hi.
Hi there.
Can you say hi? Well, say hi. You're not going to talk to me? Her from your mom and dad?
We ran into our nephew, Corky Burkhead, and his daughter when we went around and back. At this point, I'm standing up on the parking lot and behind the post office, filming the back. You can see that the apartment building portion of the Elks has still stood. When I pan back, look at that roof, it's just bowed right down onto the dance floor. There's a view of the courthouse and its tree, which is a little bare right now, and it looks like it's about 6:30 in the evening when I'm filming. There's some of the debris, and you can see the hole in Jack Hurst building there. I'll be moving over, and you can see the hole where Gina Ann's used to stand. The wall between the rooms on the second floor did stand, but everything, and the facade in the front, but everything else was collapsed. There's the hole where there used to be a building.
Well, you want to come up the other side and see if there's anything over there?
Yeah.
In front of the church.
I was standing in front of the Presbyterian Church on the east side of the Domingo building at this point, and looking west down the square. The sun is beginning to set because, as I said, it was almost a little after 6:30 at that point. You can see the backhoe being used to try and pull the rubble away from the front of the building so that they can pile up some more. Before it's over, there'll be quite a pile there, and they just continue to remove it and pile it up, and remove it and pile it up. there's a view of the west side of the square. This is the Channel 13 helicopter as it flew over the collapse and filmed it. It was through those pictures we watched later on television that we realized that the collapse had also collapsed, the debris had fallen through the Domingo building.
What about that? I know the piano's right about there. Yeah, I can see it real well.
Look at that piano. It continued to stay up there, and at the time that I'm putting the voice on this tape, it was still there, and it's over a week later. And during that time, they demolished the Domingo building, and it still stayed.
Looks like Jack and Dorothy's building there got it pretty bad.
Jack and Dorothy Hurst were in Florida at this time when the damage occurred, and Jack came back and is here now, but they wouldn't let him into his building when he got here, and he had to get a court order through a lawyer before he could get in there. This shows some of the damage to the Domingo building. As you can see, just over the windows, so to the right of the windows, there's quite a crack. And it doesn't show up in the film as well, but the wall was leaning out quite a bit. And we had several windy days afterwards, and it just continued to lean out further and further and further. They closed off Franklin Street for fear that it was going to collapse, and it was the first building they did remove.
See the pulp, right? Well, I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing. All the way down. But it's parting right over the front door. That building is total. I wonder where Rick's at. It's a mess. It's taken half the square. It's an interesting shot.
What?
It makes for an interesting shot.
Yeah.
These shots were taken about 9:30, 10 o'clock that night. We had heard on the scanner that they had brought the dogs in from Marion County and were going to try and locate where Gina Ann Herbert was. I wasn't sure they would come out, so I did not take very many of the night shots. I was surprised. They're really quite clear. The dogs supposedly located her body, and they probed to see if there was any life and did not find any. But I'm not sure if the dogs actually did locate her, because she ended up further back than they had suspected. They thought she was about 10 feet from the front, and she ended up being about 10 feet from the back.
This is the following morning, the 7th of March, 1987.
These were taken about, probably 8:30, 9 o'clock the next morning. As you can see, at this point, the facade has been torn off of Gina Ann's. It began to be unpredictable, so they tore it down so that the rescue work could continue. I think at this you can see the backhoe is inside the building. They did use it to loosen up the debris, and then they would bring some of it out. I was not filming at the time. They did finally find her body, which was just before noon, probably 11:30, quarter of 12. We were gone at the time, so I was not down there filming. You can see the wall that remains of the upstairs, and that's about all.
Smile well.
Well, you can get a lot better where he told you to go around.
They brought in some cars and kept removing a lot of the wedding dresses and gowns, and they took out quite a bit of them. You can see a newscaster there to the right from Channel 8, and one of the photographers standing there where you can see it right next to her. You can see the debris is beginning to pile up. The men were very exhausted. They had worked through the night and are to be commended for their rescue attempt. There's a good view of some of the rubble and some very tired firemen.
Whoops, don't move in, please. I'm trying to film. That gives you hope.
What you see being removed there, and I'll pan over to the right as it goes by, was a plate glass mirror intact. Everybody kind of gave a sigh of relief when they saw it because they thought maybe this gives us hope that she is still alive if a big plate glass mirror could make it. There it goes down the sidewalk. It was unbelievable, but like I said before, unfortunately she was not found alive. They feel that she was killed instantly. She was found in a position that we're taught when we hear a tornado to crouch down and put our hands over our head for protection. There is her boyfriend, Dwight Wilson. As he backs up, you can see that his arm is in a sling. He does have a broken collarbone and lacerations.
Yeah.
It might start.
They just got a bunch of there's some pieces fell off.
Pretty good. Yeah, if they get her out.
These are taken on March the 11th, I believe it was, on Wednesday. They have begun to demolish the Domingo building at this point.
Well, I'll probably take them one at a time.
There's that piano again, and it's, like I said, it's still up there, and it's the following Sunday now.
There were people on the
View of the First Presbyterian Church.
Oh, come on, man. Here I am, don't forget.
I see you over there, Oliver.
Never mind. Never mind.
That'll get a picture.
Oliver Hunter giving me a bad time as usual, and there's Ivan Weinman.
Is this more suit you now?
You can get a close-up. This is Gina Ann's now. This is, today's date is Thursday, March the 12th, 1987. This was what was Gina Ann's.
You can see somebody throwing debris out to the left. They're cleaning out the upstairs apartment of Jack Hurst. This was taken just about noontime on, as I said, Thursday, the 12th of March, 1987. As you can see, the Domingo building is just about gone there. They're just cleaning up the debris.
Rick's building?
Yeah.
Rick's building was full of Japanese that moved in there.
Oh, they have?
The top floor had their files and everything.
The Elks was full of antiques.